Welcome to Talk is Sheep, the official podcast of the Wild Sheep Society of British Columbia. Brought to you by our title sponsor, Mountain Tough Fitness Lab. Come along with us as we take conversations that matter to you into the high alpine. We have partnered with Mountain Tough Fitness Lab to help get you in shape and mentally stronger. Whether you're a veteran hunter or just starting out, the Mountain Tough app will take you to the next level. We personally train using the Mountain Tough programs, and we believe in it so much that we want to give you 6 weeks for free using code SHEEPBC. That's SHEEPBC. Check out Mountain Tough Fitness Lab. You won't be disappointed.
Hello, Brogan. How's it going tonight?
Hey guys, hello there. It looks like maybe the connection lost a bit there, but I'm good. How are you guys?
Excellent. Mr. Stelter, how you feeling?
Well, I got two All-Stars on tonight, so how bad could it be? Get to sit back. I just cracked a Corona, so I'm actually on the clock here, but I'm having a beer. I'll admit it. But sometimes it helps with the conversation, so that's not a bad thing, is it?
No, that's good actually. I had some trench there from the banquet in Penticton, but we ran out pretty quick. That stuff's pretty good.
Yeah, it's not a bad beer this time around. That lager goes down pretty smooth. I've got me in trouble in the Northern, I think. Or I shouldn't say I was in trouble. A little hungover, but hey, that's the life we chose. Sheep and parties. No.
That lager was awesome though. The Dolls, what do they call it? Dolls. What
I think
how'd they?
the Doll's Legacy Lager. Is that the?
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Off the top.
Super cool.
Yeah, I know Jesse and the team there at Trench Brewing hit that one out of the park, and it's kind of neat walking into the Northern fundraiser and you come through the doors and you got everyone's holding a sheep beer. It's like that was it's a good place to launch. Those guys like to have a good time up there.
Yeah, absolutely.
But there was something else that kind of, caught everybody's eye as it walked into the room. A little bit late. It was a pretty impressive charcoal drawing by Mr. Brogan here. It's kind of my first introduction to him.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, actually, that piece I had started last year, about a month and a half before I was going sheep hunting for stones up north there, and yeah, it's crazy. Like some of this artwork I've been doing over the, past 2 years for sure. I don't know, I'll knock on wood. It's like I manifested that sheep ended up being almost identical to the one that I harvested about a month later. So my friends were like, man, did you just draw your sheep? I'm like, no, I started that a month ago, but it turned out being exactly what I was looking for. So yeah, and about 6 months later, a year later there or whatever, I finished it and I reached out to Tanner. I actually already had some interest in it to purchase, but I reached out to Tanner. I just felt like I wanted to donate to the Northern fundraiser. I seen there was, me and Tanner have become good friends from Frontiersman Gear over the past couple of years. I actually did a piece for him and I see he donates quite a bit and kind of got me on the train again. I'm like, yeah, I'd like to donate a piece, and he was just right on board and hooked me up with who to get a hold of. And thank you guys for putting it in a live auction. I felt like it got a lot of attention there, and it raised quite a bit in the Northern fundraiser, so that was good to see.
How cool was that to sit back and just watch everybody throwing up their hands and throwing dollars at your art?
Yeah, it was pretty humbling. There's an expression that my uncle always told me: when you get this feeling, he calls it chicken skin. As you get goosebumps. It was kind of that feeling. I don't know, maybe I'm being biased here, but that it seemed to go pretty quick, that charcoal. Like there was hands going up firing. It reached a high number quite quickly. So it was awesome to see. I love the auction stuff.
Yeah, I got the pleasure. I was actually standing right behind your table when that was going, and it's kind of neat to watch the excitement in your face as it was going, and just seeing everybody in awe when it was brought up onto the stage was it was pretty cool. You hit that one out of the park, and we're super stoked that you've joined the family and donated that to us.
Yeah, thank you. It was pretty cool. Like I said, it's one thing to see something go, and then that's another thing is to donate a piece and then have it go for. I was hopeful that it would get like around the 2,000 mark. Yeah, and it went above that. I think it went for about 3,900. So that was awesome.
Yeah, I'm not sure of the exact number, but yeah, it was around that mark for sure. It was pretty neat. So when you started, like, have you always been an artist as like a hobby on the side, or is it something you did as a kid, or?
Yeah, so I guess it would start when I was like, my mom would say about 2 years old, whenever she whenever she was busy or wanted to keep me occupied, she would just give me a piece of paper and a pen, and I would do these little squiggles across it, like really uniform, really tight and small, and always perfect. And I kind of had an eye for it then. And as I was growing up, I was fortunate to have a family there's quite a bit of artistic talent in throughout the family, my aunts and my mom and stuff like that. So they were all like crafters or something along the lines of even drawing. So I'd go to my grandma's a lot, and they would always have like, cardboard and scissors out and beading, and I would make like leather vests and just like a little bit of everything. I think I was like 4 or 5. I taught myself how to bead loom, and you name it, man. I did it my grandfather had a woodworking shop, so I did a bit of woodworking as well, and it just progressed. I always loved art. I always seemed to find myself drawing one way or the other throughout my life, and I did a little bit in elementary school, I guess, what kind of classes you'd have, and then when I went to high school, I really focused on the art class. I just loved it, and I had a great teacher. She would bring out. I see it now more, but she was always trying to get me to go, not necessarily abstract, but more down the artistic eye for things rather than, I don't know, I think when you're an onlooker to art, you always compare yourself to, I hear this thing like, well, that person's better than that person, or compare it, but a lot of people are comparing it to, they want it to get as close to realism as they can. Like they want to be, it's hard to tell if it's a photograph or not. And my teacher was always trying to get me to get away from that. I said, if you wanted to paint a picture, I'd just go take one, she always said. But yeah, so now I see it. Now I'm a little bit older, and I like to pick out art that, like, you can see the brush strokes, you can see the hours, the talent in it, and maybe some of it looks a lot photographic. And don't get me wrong, that stuff is beautiful, but I like to see a little bit more of the art side, abstract side of it. So I've been progressing into that as I'm getting older now, or I don't sound old, I guess, but as I'm getting older, and that's it. It's been a passion of mine ever since I was young. Like,
it's the stuff you're doing is incredible in your eye for the animals. It's like you're capturing the moment. Like, how long, say the drawing you did for what would we call it, a charcoal drawing? Would that be correct?
Yeah, I use charcoal drawing. Yeah.
Okay, so for the one you did for the northern, like that sheep, how long did that actually take? Like, I know you spread it over time, but like when you're actually standing there in front of the canvas, how many hours do you figure that takes? Because there's a lot of work in there.
To be honest, like, I do a lot of painting, a lot of like pencil drawings, and those take a long time. But like the charcoal, I'm kind of new to this charcoal. Maybe I've only been really focusing on it for about 3 years. A charcoal piece like that, I can do relatively quick. I would say 15 to 20 hours for that one. Like not that long at all. 2 days, I'd say.
Oh, wow. Okay, then.
Yeah.
I would have guessed a lot longer.
No, and I don't mean to rush. I kind of made it a goal of mine to slow down a little bit, and work through the process a little better and define the details. But yeah, charcoal comes together rather quickly. It's amazing what that medium will do on its own. You kind of capture a lot of detail without even really trying. I guess you could say.
You're sounding awfully humble. Without even trying, I'm just pumping out incredible pieces of artwork, life size, damn near.
It sounds better than it is.
So, well, you mentioned that you basically drew the ram you shot before you shot it. So I think we have to dive into that ram, don't we? I think that's what we do around here, eh, Kyle?
Sounds like a solid plan. And all I can say is that if you're able to do that, buddy, why don't you draw me a Chadwick and let's go hunting together?
Let's manifest it.
Exactly. Absolutely. By the way, have you killed a caribou yourself?
No, that's been on my bucket list. My grandfather had an outfit, and we did some caribou hunting around the Tumbler Ridge area before that season was closed. I never really had a desire to chase a caribou. Like, they were always pretty to see and seen quite a few, but yeah, that's on my bucket list, and I might be a little late here other than hopefully pull an LEH tag, but yeah, the general open's kind of scarce, I guess.
Well, one of the reasons I asked was obviously the new cover of the Big Game Records of BC book is obviously your artwork, and I think Fred Pringle's got the original on that, doesn't he? I think you donated it to them, or I'm not sure how that worked, but I'm pretty sure Fred's got the original or something like that. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. I think the guys reached out to me about a year and a half ago. Brian Swift, actually. Like, the power of social media has been huge for me. Brian got a hold of me on Instagram, want to know if I'd be interested in doing a book cover, and I was like, yeah, absolutely. Like, no problem. I'd love to do it. I'm like, what did you have in mind? He's like, well, actually, there's a caribou on your Instagram that we seen, and if we could use that, or if you could do another one. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. That was just, I did that one sitting at the kitchen table with my niece and nephew. I was just practicing with this new white pencil and charcoal, and yeah, so it was just sitting in my room, and my art room, and I'm like, it's yours, man. Please use it. And yeah, so they put it on the cover, sent me a kind of a proof of it, and it just fit perfectly, and it actually fell together quite nicely. And they reached out and wanted to purchase the original. I said, no, by all means, just have it. So I went. They invited me down to the Big Game convention there in Cranbrook last year, which that was awesome experience too. And they released the book there and did some cover signing. The original framed, or I don't know if I framed it yet. Maybe I just gave him it raw, and yeah, he was quite happy. He's a real humble guy too. Nice guy.
Yeah, awesome. Anyway, sorry, Greg, I drifted on you there, but I just had to ask about that caribou. So.
No, I had
super cool.
I had no idea. Guess I better do my research better, eh?
Well, it's interesting, Greg. I totally forgot about it. So I did a podcast with Fred. I was down at Fred's, and he was talking about you, Brogan, and I was just like, I didn't put two and two together. And then as we're talking here, I was going through your social, and I'm like, oh, there's you at the Big Game Records banquet, and I'm like, holy shit, you did the cover title on that, and then it all clicked all at once there. So yeah, super cool. And Fred was talking about you and how cool it, and obviously great freaking photo. I've got a copy of the book as well. I absolutely love it. So congrats on that. Really cool, man.
Thank you.
All right, now back to the nitty gritty. we got to talk sheep with you, my friend.
Okay.
So you've manifested the sheep, so to speak, or maybe you did, and there's going to be a lineup out this door looking to sign up with Brogan.
Yeah. So started this drawing. This has kind of like always been in the back of my dream ram, so to speak, of what I was looking for. I wanted something with some age, and one of those ones you see in the scope that's like a no-brainer, like either great big curl over the nose or double broomed or something like that, and kind of been thinking about it. This would have been my first stone. I've been on about, I think this was hunt number 6. My second sheep, but first stone, and I went on a couple other hunts with friends there, so I wasn't the shooter, but yeah, went up last August. A spot that my friend, my sheep hunting partner, actually harvested his first ram out of this area the year before, so we were kind of familiar with it and kind of knew the country, so it was going to be more of a joy to go in there, and we know where to go and know where to look and kind of make the best of our time rather than searching for the sheep. And like I said, we got up there. I got off night shift, I think, and we drove straight there, kind of slept in the truck, and just hike off the highway a bit, and got up just before dark. The year before, we were kind of stuck in this avalanche chute, so we didn't want to do that again. It was brutal. Got up there before dark, set up camp. I think we kind of glassed just as sundown went. Maybe picked up, I can't remember if we picked up a sheep or two, a ram or two, just a small ram before dark, and went back down. And yeah, slept on it. Woke up in the morning. I don't even think we had coffee yet. We just wanted to be there for first light. It's kind of like the golden rule. You want to be there when you catch everything in the move, and come up on top of this rise and looking down the valley or up the valley a bit. And Scott picked out a couple young rams right off the bat to our right, and I think there was 3 or 4 there. Nothing to get excited about, but sheep nonetheless, and that's pretty cool to be up on rams right away. I think we seen some goats early too. And then we were just kind of packing up, and I looked to the furthest horizon I could see, and it's crazy how these animals can stick out on the skyline. Like, they look like 4 times their size, and you can see them with their naked eye. And I think it's probably as a crow flies 2 miles away, and I threw up my spotter again and kind of honed in on them, and instantly there was 2 rams there. The one that we were kind of hoping to get after, that we'd seen the year before, he kind of ghosted us. We knew he was an old ram, but we never did get close enough to get a look. He was there, and this other ram that just instantly just seen this huge curl and flare out, and called him hitchhiker right off the bat because it looked like a hitchhiker's thumb trying to catch a ride out in the side there, and just instantly focused. And like, that's the ram. That's like, if he's an old ram, like, that's the one I want. If not, we were focused on that other old ram, but I didn't want to shoot. Like, I've been kind of selective. I didn't want my first ram just to be, or any ram just to be, just a squeaker, a 6-year-old, beautiful genetic. So we went back down, packed up camp, climbed up there. I think we watched, there was six rams there. They're all pretty good. 3 that were legal for sure, and this old boy and my ram, and we watched them. They put them to bed, and I think it was kind of getting late, so we just kind of figured we'd make a plan in the morning to go around the backside of this other mountain, and they would have had us pinned if we tried to get close that day. So we're laying there in our spot. It's called the Watering Hole, and catching some rays, and all of a sudden heard this ruckus and thought it was, because there's lots of bears up there, so we thought it was a grizzly, kind of caught us off guard and come running up the shale pit. But no, it was like, I think it was 5 more rams come up beside us, and called it the full house. It was just like a 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 6-year-old, and a 7-year-old all together, and just like 30 or 40 yards from us. It was just the perfect. You couldn't have asked for a better thing. Like, sit there, glass them. We were drying our socks in the sun, and yeah, there's just something about sheep hunting, man. Just sitting there and watching them, sun on your face. I've had some rough days in the rain too, but this one was pretty good. And yeah, so we called her a day, went back, had some mountain house, moved camp a little closer. Woke up in the morning and the sheep were gone, the rams that we were going to target. So we figured they'd gone around the backside of the mountain, which was perfect. So we had to come down this steep slope and walk across this shale pit, or this shale slide. And the shale slide's just brutal. It looks like it's easy walking, but it's just really hard, compact, and your ankles don't bend right, and your boots slip on it because yeah, just shined up shale, and it's really loud. So we're trying to get across there, and there's actually 2 nice billy goats we came up on, and the season doesn't open until the 25th, but there was one there, one young one, and he has it all. Like, maybe he'll be there again this year. We'll get a better look at him, but heavy, nice, long, but like probably only 4 or 5, just a beauty genetics. Anyways, we leave them and we're walking across the shale and come up this other drainage, and we knew those rams had to be somewhere, and we're kind of picking our way, and I could hear rocks sliding from further up the valley, and go about another 200 or 300 yards, and it just echoed. It was kind of a tight little rock slide valley there, chute, and look towards the sound, and there's this ram coming down, like this chute that a ram or an animal shouldn't come down. It's crazy. Like, to watch those animals and what they can do on 4 legs, it just blows my mind. And we watch them come across this shale. You can hear him every step, and all the rocks below his feet are just raining down. And we knew he was one of the group, so we hadn't pinpointed the group yet. And we're sitting there looking around, and he kept looking kind of towards up above us and across the ray, like kind of like adjacent to us. And then all of a sudden, I don't know, probably about 300 yards directly across from us, I look over, and here's this ram with this flared tip and broomed on one side, and that's exactly that was him, Hitchhiker. Of course, he's the first ram we've seen within range, and he's just staring right at us and kind of straight across, maybe a little bit higher, but not bad. And we were just laying in this creek, this old dried up creek bed, and he just goes back to feeding, and then all these other rams start popping out. We call the other one Old Boy. He comes out. We got some beautiful video of him, and same thing. Like, he has the age. Like, he's for sure 9, 10, that we can see the rings. He's a little bit better maybe, and he's got it all, heavy, deep, but he doesn't break his nose, but he's just a beautiful old ram. And I told Scott, if he gets close enough, like, we should probably think about taking him, but I want to get an age on this flared out one. And this other ram came out. We called him Boxy, because he's kind of just nice frame, and I think he was 8-year-old then. He's got it. He's nice too. And then the 6-year-old we called, he's full curl and just another beautiful ram, but he is 7 then. But yeah, we had names for all these rams, and they all start popping up. It was just like a dream afternoon, and they just start feeding down towards us. Like, I say it now and kind of get excited again. It was pretty awesome. Yeah, so my ram, or Hitchhiker we called him, kind of came down towards us and then disappeared, and kind of getting excited and trying to find him in the scope again. And next thing you know, we look up, and he's about 350, 380, and he's just laying there by himself. All the other rams are about 400 yards above him. He's the closest one to us, and just laying there, chewing away, looking kind of all around, kind of towards us, and get the scope on him. And I'm like, start counting rings, and they're just stacked. And I'm like, oh man, I can see 9, and it's still going in his hairline. That ram's 10 all day. And I'm like, yeah, if I can make it happen, I want him. Like, he's got it all. I know Old Boy's he's another beautiful specimen, but that's just what I envisioned. I wanted a ram that comes way up above his nose. He's got the age. He's got broomed on one side. You could see it when he walked, his swaying belly, his arched back. And yeah, so I got there, got set up, felt comfortable, got on my tripod. Now we wait, and I'm laying on my belly, and I've never shot from my belly or laying prone or whatever. And I felt comfortable anyways, and I'm laying there and just waiting for him to move. I'm calming myself down, breathing. Scott's on the phone scope, and we're getting some sweet video. And an hour goes by, and now I gotta go to the washroom, so I lean over, because I didn't want to move too far, and get back on the gun. And I think it's about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then all of a sudden we can see him. He's starting to move. Scott's like, "Okay, he's getting up. Get ready." So okay, I take my breaths, and man, it is so, like, everyone knows me. I get pretty excited, but I can bang that gong 600 all day, no sweat. But man, you put antlers or horns in front of me, it's something else. So he stands up, and I'm like, okay, take my breaths and get everything ready, walk myself through it. And okay, I'm gonna squeeze the trigger, and I range him one more time, and I think Scott said he was 350. So I put the crosshairs on him at 350. I'm just shooting a Browning 308 X or a titanium TI there and Leopold scope and pull the trigger, and it didn't sound good. But I turned to him and I'm like, where'd I hit him? He's like, man, you didn't. Uh-oh. So now it's pure panic. So now he starts to drop down this ridge and he's kind of running to our left, and I jack another one in and I kind of hold in front of him and stops, and I pull again and it's above him like a foot. I'm like, oh man, what do you think he is? He's like, I don't know, shoot for 3. So I shot, like, he ran again. I shot 2 more times. So I shot my whole clip 4 and he disappeared. And like my gut sank. I thought that ram was gone. I'm like, he's like, you didn't touch him, man. I watched everything. It was either above him or behind him. So I'm just stressed out, and I load my clip again. And meanwhile, like, it seemed like forever, but everything was happening so fast. And all of a sudden I look up and he popped up, and he's like, he's closer to us, but he's almost straight up the mountain, like straight up. And I'm like, okay, he's right there. What is he? And then Scott hands me his gun. He's like, here, this thing's dialed in for 300. Put it on him. So I got on him and put it up, and I shot, and it was just under him. He's like, okay, just aim a little bit higher. And he was just literally jumping out of sight into the ravine. I pulled the trigger. I felt good. It looked what I thought looked good, and that was it. He disappeared. And I looked at Scott, and my heart was racing. And I'm like, did I get him? Did I hit him? He's like, I think you did, man. It seemed like it was good. I'm like, oh, I just couldn't believe it. Like, I was so amped up, and our packs are down the way. I'm like, I got to run up there. By this time, I think it's about 5 p.m. and it's kind of sun setting, so it's getting dark in that valley. And I'm like, I got to run up there. So pretty good shape then. I'm out of shape already this winter, but so I just dropped my jacket and everything, go running up this drainage where I last seen him, this really steep peak. And it was just like just climbing on my hands and knees and trying to pick up any blood. And I got to this point, and it's just this really steep rock chute, and literally, I don't know what the degree, like almost straight down. I could see Scott, kind of put it together, and I'm like, okay, he was standing right here. And I look down and in the ravine, and he's laying right there, like 20 yards, belly up. And I just see this curl and instantly start screaming, go run down there and go grab him. I video. I try to video as much as I can and take pictures. I have a really poor memory, so I love reliving everything. So I calmed down and videoed myself walking up to him. And man, like it's still a sight that I'm so glad I got on video, and we have the technology to do that nowadays. Like, I relive it a million times, but I watched that video. I'm like, man, that was like one of the best moments, walking up there and seeing that curl, and then I just instantly grabbed him, kind of rolled him over so he wouldn't roll away, and laid him out a little bit so he looked nice, and grabbed his horn and just admired those rings. Like, it's something about sheep horns, and I think every sheep hunter's the same. And first thing you do, you probably grab it and just kind of start counting. And yeah, it was awesome feeling, awesome hunt.
What's going through your, like, so you're laying there for hour and a half, 2 hours. You're probably shaking at that point, especially knowing it's one you're going to shoot. It's not waiting to see if it's legal. Like, that's at that point you're already honed in, just waiting for it to move. And then you have the little kerfuffle of a few misses. What goes through your mind as soon as, like, just before you popped over the ridge and seen the sheep down? And then, like, that moment when you did see the sheep, was it like complete doubt until you saw the sheep?
Yeah, like, since I never seen the shot and everything happened so fast, and the whole hike up there, all I was thinking is like what did I do wrong, and why did I shoot? Like, I was second guessing myself. Like, when we were laying there, like, we put everything into play, like, make sure he turns broadside, do all the stuff, take your time, pull the trigger. And then after the first shot, like, I felt bad, like, as I was trying to get it done in a hurry, not knowing for sure where the hit was and stuff like that, if I hit him. And I felt so disheartened and bad walking up, and just like, if I could redo it, maybe I should have got closer, maybe I should have took my time. Like, I thought I did everything right. I was just hoping that I didn't wound him, that for sure, hopefully that I could find him. It seems like a small country, but it's pretty easy to get lost up there. And I was like, yeah, so much uncertainty and disappointment. I was really disappointed in myself. And then, walking up there, and I didn't find any blood yet. And I'm actually colorblind, so I don't see blood very good. So I was on my hands and knees trying to touch the rocks, touch anything to see if it's if I can rub it in my fingers and see it, it stands out. But when it's laying on the rocks or the grass, I can't see it. And I couldn't find any blood, and I kind of figured where I knew he was and where he went. And then all the other rams started popping up above me, and I could see the Boxy, I could see Old Boy. They were about 400 yards, and they're all looking straight down at me. So I could see all of them, and he wasn't there. So I was kind of hopeful, really hoping that he wasn't wounded laying there, and really hoping he didn't roll down. 'Cause it was real steep. Like there was like waterfalls and stuff, and he couldn't have. He couldn't have expired. Like almost must have been instantaneously, because where he disappeared and where he was laying was almost the exact spot. Like. There was no struggle. You couldn't see no kicking. Like it was the perfect shot, thankfully. Yeah.
Oh, right on. That's a little bit of a relief for you then.
Mm-hmm.
What did he end up aging? Because it's like you said 10 all day. Was that what he ended up counting at?
Yeah, he was a 10-year-old. 10 and I forget what his length is. 38 and a half on his long side and broomed on his right. Yeah, that's a dream ram for me.
Yeah, well, you've been talking. I've been looking at the picture you got on Instagram. It's just like that's a nice ram. A nice little character on it too, with the rubbed off on the one side, the broom that it gets. I don't know. Yeah, that's a gorgeous ram, and that looks like some unforgiving terrain.
Yeah, thank you. It's my friend's spot. He kind of found it and he took me in there, and I owe a lot to him. He's probably, he's for sure my best hunting buddy, but said he's the best hunting buddy. But yeah, he took me in there, and like it's our trips now are just love being up there, regardless if we've been lucky and taken sheep both times. So I can't talk like that, but it's just beautiful being up there, and rugged or not, it's amazing.
That's awesome.
Brogan, can you talk me through about, I guess, this ram manifesting it, like just like how close, like you're the artist, so how close is the ram, like, and you also started it before you finished it, before you finished it after you killed him. How was it really that close? Like, is it pretty similar ram, or like talk a little bit about that? I'm just curious to hear about that.
Yeah. So when I drew on the canvas the original outline that I was going to charcoal, I had actually drawn him a 10-year-old with his broom side on his right, just like the ram I shot. And then before I left, I looked at it again, and just the way that the ram was laying in the charcoal drawing, it didn't really look as good with that broom side being on that. So I changed the broom side to his left. So originally the drawing was exactly like the ram I harvested, but then I changed it before I left. But yeah, my original view was a 10-year-old with a broomed on his right, exactly like I harvested.
Wow, that's super cool.
No, that's the side by side's uncanny. That we're gonna have to share that when we share this podcast, is the side by side of your drawing and your ram, because it's well, you're talking about it again. I was comparing the two pictures. I'm like, this is unreal that you just drew that before you shot it, or at least had the outline of where you were going. Like it's mind blowing, actually.
Yeah, I think I want it. Yeah, I think I wanted it bad enough. I made it happen.
Oh, that's right on. So now you got the work ahead of you. Once you got your ram, you've had your moment. You're taking it all in, all basking in all the glory of this magnificent animal you've got down. Is it a straight shot out? Are you making multiple trips?
No, it was already, so when we started, Scott, I sat with the ram for a bit, and then Scott, we kind of lost our backpacks. We didn't realize we went as far as we had. So he was down looking for our bags still. He got them. I decided I'm going to meet him halfway. So he started coming up the mountain with his backpack on and my backpack strapped to his. And he made it halfway up, and we met, and we went back up to the sheep there and took a bunch of photos. Like I said, it was starting to get dark already. I can't remember the time exactly. It might have been around 5:30, and I wasn't in a rush. I knew we wouldn't be coming out of there till the dark anyway, so I said, let's just take as many pictures as we can, just sit here and enjoy this, look over. It was kind of at an angle of the area we hadn't seen before, so we just kind of just glassed everywhere and sat with them for an hour. Like, it's a pretty rare moment to get, so you want to take advantage of it while you can. Yeah, we started caping them out and skinning them and gutting them, and quartered them up. Decided they're a lot smaller than a guy thinks if you do it right and debone it a bit, and you can usually get it in one shot. So that's kind of what we planned. But since it was dark and we were coming down these great big rocks, I decided we'll just we'll take I would take the head and the cape and the tenderloins, and Scott grabbed the two hinds, and then we left the back straps and the fronts up there and laid it out so it cooled down a bit. And we came down that night. It was probably 7 or 8 o'clock at night, so it was pitch black with our headlamps and heavy packs. Every step it was daunting and kind of rugged coming down, but we went to the creek, so we only had to go maybe a kilometer, and I wanted to get close to some firewood because in that creek drainage, the moisture and the cold kind of stays down in the bottom, and that's where we were. So we got down to a flat spot, and we didn't have our tents or our sleeping bags or anything, so we just threw up a tarp and trekking poles, and we went to work finding the firewood, what we could get. It was just kind of like that scrappy kind of alpine avalanche chute stuff that it's half green, half dry, but you could burn it anyway. So we lucked out and got in a good spot and got a fire going and kind of laid everything out and put on our puffies, if whatever we had there. And it was comfortable at first, and we're kind of getting some heat, and I kept stoking the fire, and we both fell asleep because we were pretty wore out. And I remember waking up at probably like 3 a.m, and my joints had never hurt so bad in my life. Like, I didn't know what was going on, but I was so cold that my knees hurt and my ankles hurt. So I just got up and started stoking the fire, and I was wide awake by then. So I just got close to the fire, got her warm, and Scott was actually in one of those survival blankets. He kind of rolled up. I got a picture of him. He kind of looks like a baked potato, and he was still sleeping, but he wasn't enjoying it. But I sat by the fire and caped out the head myself there, and I kind of enjoyed it anyways, and made a coffee and watched the sun come up. Couldn't have asked for a better morning. And Scott woke up, dried off a little bit, had a coffee himself, and went up, got the rest of the meat, and then decided to press on all the way back to camp there and to our tents. And our bags were pretty heavy actually. Like 3 guys would be ideal, but we made it work with 2. It took most of the day getting to our camp, our tents there, and like I said, we set up, and I think we tore down our tents and went a little bit further. We call this one porcupine camp. Down below, there's always a porcupine there, and he always either in a tree or eats all our gear. But we went back, and our plan was to eat some sheep meat. That's so good over the fire. That's what we did the year before, and it was kind of made enjoyment of it. The hunt was only about 3 or 4 days total, so a little faster than we liked, but I can't complain.
You better not be complaining about that. Oh, that's awesome. What did you do with the sheep once you got back, taxidermy wise?
So actually, I got a taxidermist I use up here in Taylor, Miles Hansen, out of Inukshuk Taxidermy. He did my last ram, my Bighorn, and he's got a couple deer of mine, but I haven't. I've been meaning to take my cape to him, so I got it I just rolled it, or flushed it out, rolled the lips and the ears, and just got it in the freezer. And I've been meaning to take it back. He's got a mule deer in mind that I'm just got to take the antlers back for him to mount. So the plan was to take the cape and the antlers, but he's been super busy, super popular, and great for him. He does amazing work, and so he's a little behind, which is good for me. So so it'll be getting I just brought the just for a shoulder mount out.
No, that's cool. Just happy to hear you're doing something with it.
Oh yeah.
Some guys don't do anything. You're like, you didn't do it justice. No, that's cool. So you had mentioned that he did your Bighorn. So we got to dive into that too. Then,
yeah. So
if you're willing, looked like you had one heck of a hunt on the Bighorn solo.
Yeah, that was like I got a lot of trophies, not a lot of trophies, but I got a lot of sentimental trophies and some good quality of everything in my man cave here. But that by far, that Bighorn is by far my best trophy. It's been a dream of mine since I was a young kid. My grandparents used to own an outfit around Tumbler Ridge, and I remember I probably 6 or 7, we'd be driving around looking at goats and stuff, and he was always like, make sure you keep looking for the sheep, the Bighorn sheep. There's some around Tumbler Ridge. Like we didn't really know the area then, but you never know, they might be up here. So we were always on the hunt for the Bighorn sheep, and that was a dream. I always wanted to get to this area to look for these sheep, and we call them the narrowway rams, 719. So they're a special kind of ram to me. Probably not to most people, but to me, they're the most northern species of the Bighorn in BC, and they're just kind of smaller. Their curls are tight. They're stout. They live in a rugged area. It's hard to get into. The only access is either horse or hiking, and the numbers are really low in there. So even finding sheep, let alone a ram, let alone a legal ram, is pretty tough. So that's kind of what got me into sheep hunting. I'd been on a stone hunt before in 2015, and it was good too. We were on some legal rams, but it didn't work out. But growing up, I was more focused on whitetail and elk, so I didn't really have a drive for sheep. And it wasn't until I kind of got my other stuff done, and I really wanted that narrowway Bighorn. So that was a goal of 2019. Like in 2020, I'm going to go as many times as it takes, as I heard it takes some guys to 5 to 10 tries to even be successful in there. So that was a plan. Go every year until I get one of those narrowway rams. So in 2020, I went in, and my friend and I, and we kind of got a little intel of where to go and where to start. And it's not easy. I'll have to stress that enough to anyone that's thinking of going in there. It's rugged. Like, yeah, sheep stone hunting is beautiful compared to the 719. It's a chore to get in there. It's a chore to stay in there, and it's a chore to get out of there. So we went in the BC side there, the 2020, and took our quads. You can get in about 35K on a quad. It's just a brutal trail to get in, even on a quad. Took us 10 hours a quad, and then you only got to go 30K. And I crossed the Narrowway River and kind of start hiking and glassing from there. We lucked out, and same thing, skylined on a distant ridge, some rams just as the sun was going down, and I could see they were curled, and we kind of got close. Our plan was we pushed camp close that night and woke up in the morning, and the night before, I guess, we heard gunshots, but the outfitter was in there, and her and her hunter there, they connected on a legal ram, and we decided we'd still go in and check it out. There was more in the band, so we wanted to know for sure. I knew there was 2 that were pretty close, so we got close the next morning. Yeah, the one ram that was kind of the new lead of the pack there, he was about an inch short. It's real tough to get a legal one in there, or to try and determine it. You got to be right on the same plane and try and draw that line from the back of their horn to the nostril. It's tough, and he might have been close, but I doubt it. So I was not going to pull the trigger for a maybe. So yeah, we looked around a little bit longer, and there was another hunting party in there we seen, and it was kind of like we knew that it was really hot. It was like 30 above, and we knew that some weather was coming, so we decided to hunt our way out and kind of check the ridges, which we did. We took another day or two, and then we got down to the river on our way out, and it was so hot that the glacier melted, and the river came up like significantly. It turned like a murky, beautiful blue, but I'm like, well, we got to cross it. Like, we got to try anyway. So I ran a rope across, and it was over my waist, and trying to get the guns across and our packs and the chainsaw. And then I was going to take my quad across. So my friend Soren was on the other side, and he would hold the winch line, and I came with my bike, and it only had to do a little shot just to make it just so he could hook the hook on it and prevent me from going downstream there. And yeah, I gunned it last minute to get it across, and the winch line kind of wrapped around the tie rod, snapped the tie rod. I started going down river, the quad flipped upside down, and I started swimming with it, trying to hold on to the rack and trying to hold the willows going down. And Soren come running with me, and I remember I was just holding in one hand the quad, and it was floating, and trying to hold the willows, and he was going to swim across to his quad on the other side of the beach and run me a winch line. And by then I lost the grip, and I started floating down river with my bike, and it's upside down. All four tires are in the air, and I could just see the chute and all these rapids coming, and I just did everything I could to try and stop it. And I was seconds from letting it go, so I didn't think I could save it. My feet started touching the rocks, so I just started. My shoes, I had Crocs on, so my Crocs popped off, and they're floating downriver, and so I just dug my heels into the rocks and tried to hold the quad and kind of drug it to the beach and worked it a bit. And sure, I got it to stop, and it was on its handlebars, but it was totally, it was pretty beat up, and Soren got the winch line to me. So needless to say, we couldn't cross with the bike, so we had to walk 35 kilometers out, and we had to do a rescue mission. And we came back a couple weeks later on that trip to get my quad, and on the way in, I lost my Rhino in there and broke all the axles, and I just got my Rhino out this year, so it was in the bush for 3 years. Got the quad out anyway, so that was 2020, and the next year I'm like, hey, I'm going back. Like, I have to do this. So decided to go in a different way. So 2021 came. I decided to hike in. I don't want nothing holding me back, none of these quads and stuff. That 35 kilometers, we actually hiked out in 8 hours, and it takes 10 hours to quad it, so you don't really gain a lot, and it's a lot of work trying to get a bike in there. So I decided to hike in the next year. Soren wasn't able to come with me this year, and my friend Scott, he's a school teacher, so he couldn't take off that time. So I have a week on, week off schedule, and it's just been my dream and to go. And it was kind of hard to convince my wife to let me go by myself. But today's technology with like my inReach and stuff, locations, like it's not a big deal. So she felt comfortable then. So I drove all day, got to the kind of the quad trail. I could drive, quadded for about 3 hours, got a little ways in there and hiked for an hour and a half till dark, and started working my way up the river. And set up camp, woke up in the morning, had a coffee. It was all by myself. I loved hunting by myself, but started walking up the creek, and my wife was following me as I go and texting me as I go. And I'm a pretty lucky guy. I knew where I was going, where I wanted to be. I just kind of got to this area, and the first spot, I'm like, almost as the sun came out, I'm just going to sit here and glass up this creek drainage, and threw up my tripod and my scope, and I seen a wolverine running across the ridge, and I'm like, well, if I can see a wolverine, I should be able to see a ram if they're here. Like, I was kind of worried. Like, the first little bit when you're glassing, you're always kind of second guessing, are you going to miss something, or could you see it? I'm like, well, I can see a wolverine, I'll see a bighorn. I panned over about 200 yards, and there's 5 bighorn rams standing there looking at me, looking down the creek. I'm like, no way. And then like I'm instantly shaking, trying to set up my tripod. I didn't have the best tripod then. It's something from like Walmart or something. So I'm trying to stabilize it and zoom in a bit. And I'm instantly texting my wife on my inReach, like, I see, I think I see 5 rams. Then I text her again, I see 6 rams. Oh, I see 7 rams, and one looks good. And I knew right away, I'm like, okay, this one's close. So I made a plan, kind of scoped out the area where they're at. There was an avalanche chute. They're on the other side of this river, this creek. And I can go up a few hundred yards, get closer, and then I'll cross the creek, drop my stuff, and go up. So that's exactly what I did. Got everything going. I'd fallen in the river earlier, so I was soaked, covered in mud up to my knees, trying to walk on this old horse trail. And anyway, so I was kind of beat up. Get across the river, drop my gear. I pulled out a blue tarp that I had, covered all my gear, changed my boots, put on dry socks, grabbed my gun and my scope, and just beeline it straight up the mountain as fast as I can. And it was lots of blowdown and in the thick timber and real deep moss. So every step was like, it was an effort to pull your leg out. You'd sink like a foot. Get up top, and then there's this really thick avalanche chute. And I've told myself a million times, I know guiding bears, guiding anything, don't ever go in the avalanche chute. You never come out good. Well, I decided I'm going to cut the distance to go across this avalanche chute. So I get in there, and I'm on my hands and knees pushing through things. And I'm stressed out now. So it's been about 45 minutes. I didn't know if the rams would still be there. There's black clouds rolling in. So I'm pushing my way. I'm sweating. I'm breathing heavy. I'm soaked from sweating. I get up out of the avalanche chute finally, and it's straight up. And then it just opens up, and it's this alpine timber. And it snowed like a week before, so all like the grass and the moss and all the old, what do we call it, like the bear's cabbage there was all beat down. So it looked just like a football field. Like everything stood out. It was beautiful. Go a little further and kind of start working my way up the mountain and wrapping around this edge. And I picked out this slide with this snow ridge on it. And I knew they were below it, not far. So I got close to what I felt was close, dropped my pack. I didn't bring my spotter, just my gun and my binos, and started crawling on my hands and knees and going like 5 yards and looking. And this time I'm on my belly, and I come up over this rise, and I look over, and there's this ram's got me pinned, and he's just a young ram, and he's about 40 yards away from me, looking straight at me, and he's a little bit above me. And we just lock eyes, and I didn't move, and we stood just motionless for about 5 minutes. Finally, he kind of closed his eyes and turned his head, so I moved, and I'm glassing him, and I knew the other rams had to be close. I didn't know where for sure, and I move a little bit, and there's just this one little shrub that I'm behind, and I look just past that shrub, and there's the other 6 rams laying below me about 40 yards, and I knew right away that the one closest to me, I could see him looking away, was the one that I'd seen that was probably full curl, and then another big old ram with him, and they were both laying with their backs to me. And I laid there for like 40 minutes with them, and trying to age them, trying to see which one was closest, which one was legal. And I was pretty sure the longer one that looked full curl was there. I wasn't 100% because I was above them, and so I was just waiting for them to stand up. I kind of moved wrong, and it was starting to snow and rain on me, and I was cold. I didn't have anything, so I kind of rolled over and was going to try and kind of warm up and rub my legs, and I accidentally popped my knee out of place. And I have bad knees from motocross when I was younger, and they haven't popped out in a long time, but yeah, this one popped out, and I was instantly like sweating, and extended my knee and popped it back into place. And meanwhile, while I was doing that, I must have made a commotion, and I'd spooked the rams, and they'd all stood up, and kind of like, I looked over, and they were running beside me about, like I said, 40 yards, but they were running above me. And quickly, like, my knee kind of popped back into place, and I rolled over and grabbed my rifle and my binoculars. I'm laying there on my belly, and it was just like the perfect scene. They were like 45 to 50 yards, just slightly above me, all single file, and just stopped there, not looking at me, but just kind of like looking up above themselves. And I could just see him perfectly. He was full curl, I could tell. And I'm like, okay, that's him. And then there was one behind him. He was in the back of the line, and he was an older ram. Like he was at least 9, probably 10 or 11, but he was broomed pretty low, so he wouldn't make legal. And he looked close, and he was definitely a trophy, definitely a shooter. But yeah, I couldn't make that call on the full curl, so I went back to mine and just double checked. I knew his left side was a little bit longer, the right side was a little broomed, and I put it behind his shoulder, and I was going to squeeze, and then they all kind of turned, and they started walking down towards me. They walked to like 40 yards, and then they were all beside each other, 40 yards, looking right at me. So I just put it right on his chest and pulled the trigger, and it was a perfect hit. And he kind of ran up the valley into the distance, all of them together. And I knew it was a hit. I didn't know, but they all disappeared, so I couldn't see. And then I kind of collected my things and went back and got my pack, and I'm working my way through these canyons, these coulees, kind of where they went, and all the rams, 6 rams popped up, all of them but him. So I kind of felt good then, and same thing, I kind of walked closer to them, walked through this creek draw, popped up on the edge, and there he laid, perfect, like didn't roll, nothing, just kind of set up perfectly. And same thing, like I said, we're pretty grateful for cameras and cell phones or whatnot, so I actually set my pack back up and put my camera there, and it was like my dream ram, my dream trophy. I wanted everything, so I put it on video, and it was myself just walking up to my ram. It was like one of the best moments of my life. I did it. I was just overwhelmed with emotion. It was quite the walk, and to do it by myself was like I honestly, I like hunting with my sheep partner Scott there, but that one was pretty special by myself. And yeah, I walked up beside him, and like I said, he grabbed his horns there, count some rings, and look at his curl, and just laid there. I was in shock. I was in excitement. I was cold. I was out of breath. And I texted my wife right away, and I was like, she was texting me a few times, asked me how I was going. I never messaged her back, but she could see my updated tracks of where I was. She knew I was close, and I texted her right away, and I said, I got him. And yeah, I was just, like I said, it was hard to put into words what I was feeling at that moment. It was one of the biggest achievements of my life. A lot of mental working out, eating right, trying to get into sheep shape, trying to study, sighting my guns in, learning my guns. I never really paid much attention to my rifle before sheep hunting. Like there was so much leading up to that moment, and I'm very grateful that it only took me 2 years to do it. Like I said, I know quite a few guys have been in there, and it's some of them 5, some of them close to 10 years. So yeah, I was quite very lucky, actually. Yeah.
So you sound like a guy that just really enjoys that type 2 fun we all talk about. Just put yourself through the ringer to get in there and, cap it off with a beautiful ram.
Yeah. Sorry, that was kind of a long-winded story, but yeah, that was a pretty special one. Like I said, I didn't care what it took. I was gonna do it regardless.
You've kind of went. I guess that might be the motocross you were doing before that, just full send into sheep hunting.
Yeah, that was quite the sport.
So what's now you had all that fun getting in. Now you've got a ram on your back, and you got to go back through that. Like that's you have to swim it out. Like what's going on there?
So yeah, like I had a week off, like I said, and this was day 2 of my hunt. So actually, I think I had 10 days off. So this was day 2 of my hunt. So I knew I was okay for time. And I knew I was going to do whatever it took to get that meat out and get the hide out, get everything out. I wanted everything. I didn't care if it took me 3 trips. I knew the hardest part was done. Now I can take my time. Anyways, I was in reaching my wife and in reaching my best friend Scott at the time, and he really wanted to go, and I was she was updating him what was going on. I was on these rams, and I text him and I text Soren instantly, and I'm like, hey, I did it. I got a ram, and they were both just like over the moon and excited, and both wished they could have been there. And all Scott said was, congratulations, do you need a hand? And I was like, boy, yeah, I could definitely use a hand, but I'm not asking for it. And he's like, no, I'll be in there tomorrow. Just give me your locations, and I'll make it work. I'm like, okay. So my wife Melissa kind of told him where I was, and he followed my inReach. And like I said, that inReach on Google Earth and stuff, you can just like pinpoint everything. So he knew where to go, kind of gave him directions how to drive to the location, and he did. And I was on the mountain. I processed it. It was pitch black, same thing. I came out with the head, the back straps, and I think, and the cape that night. and that night was brutal. That was one of the hardest hikes I've ever done coming off the mountain, because it was raining and snowing, and that grass was just slick, and so was that like bear cabbage or whatever we call it. And I had popped my knee out earlier, so my knee was pretty weak, and like, yeah, it was just a brutal hike in the dark, and my headlamp was half dead, and I got down into the timber, and the avalanche chute, like I literally had to push my body through it going downhill, because all those willows grow up. And yeah, that was absolute brutal hike down to my camp. Made it, I think, till 1 a.m. I made it to my tent, and I had to set my tent up because it wasn't set up yet, and it was just kind of haphazardly thrown together, and I just laid in the tarp. I was just beat, wore out, and woke up in the morning, slept in. It was an awesome morning. Birds chirping, creek running beside me, a little bit cold. Got a fire going, had a coffee, and Scott reached me at like 3 a.m. He was already on his way, but he had to pull over and have a nap somewhere. And then he texted me again and said he was on his way. So he was on the road hiking, or on the trail hiking. I can't remember, like maybe 7 or 8 a.m. And I said, I'll go back up the mountain, grab the rest of my sheep, and maybe I'll see you at camp. And that's exactly what happened. I went up the mountain, had to pack light, so it was perfect. I kind of picked my way through a little bit better, enjoyed the hike up there, and took in the scenery, took some pictures. I got to my ram, and yeah, the only downfall of the whole thing is a whiskey jack took one of the tenderloins, so I was pretty upset about that. That meat is so good, it's like gold. So the only thing I lost was a tenderloin, but yeah, I got all the meat off the ribs there, and deboned the hinds and the fronts, and put them in my pack. And walking down, like I think I slept in, so it was about noon. I was starting to come off the mountain, or got up there, and I was walking down, and Scott was reaching me up the creek, and he was having the same issues in the beaver swamps and all the blowdown and the mud as I was having. But yeah, he was perfect timing on the way back. Like he kind of went past camp and had to come back, but we met at my tent the exact same time. I met him there, and he was just walking up the beach. And yeah, man, you can't ask for a better friend than that. Quite the guy, walk in 20 some K to back someone else's sheep out.
Yeah, I think all hunting partners need to take note right now, and they need to be a Scott. Be a friggin' Scott. It's one hell of a partner you got.
Yeah, and that's why I try to stress to everyone. It makes a world of difference when you have someone on the same page as you, and then he's probably even got a little more than me. I'd say grit. That guy, yeah, couldn't ask for a better hunting partner. And we're pretty new friends at the time. Only knew him for about a year or two, but yeah, it's like we've known each other forever. He's awesome.
And he's going to make you pay it back one day for sure, right?
Yeah, he made me pay it back the next fall on his first stone. I owed him.
There you go. Oh, right on. No, man, that's congrats on that too. That little bit of sentimental value there as well with that ram, not just a dandy ram. It's, one that meant something in that area, that meant something to you too. So it's cool to be able to cap it off like that and do it solo, and then you don't have that saving grace when your buddy shows up to help you do the dirty work, so to speak.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Like I said, it's like my best trophy, and I was really, I could say, panicking at the time, because I was kind of worried that area would be going to LEH just because of the low numbers, and yeah, it's kind of trending that way by the sounds of it this year. So I'm really grateful I got him, and I'm sad it's over. It's as rough as it is, and as hard as it is to get into. It's a whole other world in there, and being that remote, and there's no other access. It takes it to the next level. Like as much, it's a love-hate I have to that area, but I love it.
Yeah, I know a few guys that have gone back in there in the 719, and they all share that same. It's great, but it sucks. Like there's no middle grounds. You love it and hate it all at the same time.
Yeah, that's right.
But,
yeah, it's a
Sorry, go ahead.
struggle to get in there, struggle to stay in there, and a struggle to get out of there. It's a struggle all the way around. It can be end of July and middle of August and snowing, or yeah, it's quite the mess in there.
Yeah, no, it's cool, and it's cool that you got it all on, film for yourself, and you're able to get all those great pictures, even though you're alone. So, hats off to you for putting that one together for yourself. It's one hell of a story, and thank you for sharing it with us tonight. Like, people are going to be tuned in and loving this one.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I'm glad to share it.
But yeah, no, that's I just thank you for your time tonight. And how do people get a hold of you if they want to, get some art from you, or maybe one of your calls, or how do people get in touch with Brogan?
Yeah, so I'm partially really prone on like the Instagram. It's been huge for me. I know it's probably not the best way, but my wife and I are in the middle of getting a website set up. We just didn't really know which route I should take with that, just because like the print sales and originals, like I have a full-time job. I have an outfit that I run in Chetwynd, BC, so I'm outfitting in the fall. I have a trap line in the same area in the winter, so I'm really busy. So like we didn't know if it was beneficial of me to get a website or just through word of mouth and do the odd piece here. So I believe website should be up here maybe in the next week or so, and that'll be like where you can get a lot of my prints and my elk calls. So yeah, I started making these elk calls 2 years ago, I guess, 2022, and but it's always been a dream of mine to make my own elk call, and I had this idea in the back of my head, and I posted it on Instagram, and it just kind of took off, this antler style cow elk call, and it works. And yeah, I killed some of my biggest elk with that past 2 years, so it's a real seller. And again, Scott's helped me out on that. I carved the perfect call, I called it, and he casted it in a form, and now we make these plastic ones, so they're just kind of quicker and a little bit cheaper price for people, and they sound great, and they're lightweight, and they're durable, and they look like an antler. So yeah, I go with that route, and you'll be able to purchase those if you want on my website there, Instagram. I kind of got a pretty big wait list on the real antler ones, and getting pretty shy on deer antlers there. But yeah, if you want one of those, you can reach out and I just put you on the list. I can't promise a date. I'm kind of like a year behind, but yeah, that's the way it goes for that. And for commission work, like for some of my bigger stuff, the one-offs, the big charcoal originals, I'm pretty booked up this year, but like I said, most people get a hold of me on Instagram. The Penticton Hunt Expo there in the sheep show, like that was a unreal experience, and it really got my name out there. I met a lot of great people, and yeah, like I got a lot of commission work from there. I'm excited for a few projects coming down the pipe that I got from the Penticton show and from the Dawson show. So yeah, look for that too on Instagram. Some of that will be on my website. I'm going to start the Northern fundraiser piece probably first, and then the Penticton fundraiser piece next, and I'll kind of do some updated reels on those in the near future.
Beautiful.
Brogan, do you happen to know your new website address? This probably won't go out before it's live anyway, but do you have your web address yet, or will you be able to share that with us later?
Probably later. I can't remember if I have it. My wife has it. I don't know if I have the actual. I think it was. No, I don't have it. I can't even guess right now. I'd be lying.
Yeah, no worries. We'll grab it from you, and then we'll just put it in the show notes of the podcast so that people can go there. And whenever you get it, we'll just grab it from you.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah.
Super cool, man. Well, I just want to say on behalf of the society, just like such cool messaging, cool hunts, and it's awesome when like you get somebody that's conservation minded, but then also like a true blue, like a real sheep hunter too. Like that's the added bonus too. So just super grateful for you, man. And just, those two donations that you did for us this year, that's going to go a long way. Like that's funding some pretty big stuff for us. So super grateful for, you as a hunter, you as an artist, and then you as a conservationist as well. So appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. I look forward to the future projects and future fundraisers. Like, I want to give a shout out to Tanner there at Frontiersman Gear. He's really helped me actually in getting my name out there and promoting my work, and bringing me along to both shows. And I think next year we're gonna collaborate a couple pieces together for the auction, and I look real forward to that. I'll donate a original charcoal, but also we have these pieces that we're going to be working together with that I do a lot of carving as well, so these will be carving. And I don't want to say too much yet, but I look forward to that. I hope everyone loves these pieces and the work that goes into them, and my passion.
Well, I'm excited.
I will say that I was your print, or your charcoal. Sorry, it's not a print. Your charcoal got me in the shit house with my wife, because she's like, you need to buy that. And I'm like, when it kind of got up into the twos, then it was like, sorry, sweetheart, that's out of my budget. But she was really, really keen on me buying that. So it was awesome, super cool.
Yeah, perfect.
Right,
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you, and thanks for coming on, and hopefully we'll catch up again sometime.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for having me, and thanks for letting me share my sheep hunts and my artwork. It means a lot, guys. Thank you.
This episode is sponsored by our conservation partner, Swarovski Optic. Thank you, Sitka Gear and Swarovski Optic, for investing in healthy wildlife and sustainable ecosystems.